o'clock. I'll call the Port Commission meeting for July 7th, 2015 to order. It's also Commissioner McCauley's birthday, July 7th.
Happy birthday. Wow.
Happy birthday to you.
Well, you guys go slow. Come on now.
Happy birthday.
Oh, you guys. Wow. Wow. That's on camera.
But I kept my mic on.
Another take, maybe? I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There was no executive session today, so we'll move right into our meeting. And the first item on the agenda is roll call. Let the record show that all three commissioners are present. The next item is our public comment period. Diane, do we have anyone signed up?
No one has signed up for public comment.
Is there anyone that forgot to sign up that wants to make a public comment? Seeing none, we'll move to our consent agenda.
A motion to approve consent agenda items A and B.
Okay, gentlemen, have you looked over the consent agenda? Do you have any comments?
Nope.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Our next item on the agenda is a presentation. By Tanya Sobczak.
Sobczak, Director of
Tamara,
Finance. It's okay, been called worse. Just this morning.
Not by us.
Good happy birthday song to you, so.
That's a plus. Commissioners, each year the port's audited by the State Auditor's Office, as you know, and in June the audit was completed for 2014. The auditor's staff and Commissioner Robbins met last week to discuss those results, and I'm here today to update the entire commission on those results. The audit's really comprised of 4 audits, and within each audit there are 3 reporting levels. An exit item, which is pretty low level, a management item, which is something that management needs to address, and a finding. And I'm pleased to report that there were no findings in any of these audits for 2014. So I'll just go through briefly each one of the audits. The first one is an audit of the financial statements, and these are published on our website, available to the public, and the auditors look to see if they're prepared according to accounting standards. Are they correct? Are they complete? And for 2014, the auditors had no recommendations. We had a clean audit on those. The second one is the federal grants program. So this is the FAA Airport Improvement Program. And the auditors looked for, is the port in compliance with all rules and regulations, spending, reporting, et cetera. And the auditors also had no recommendations. This also was a clean audit. The third audit that the port receives is for our PFC program. These are the fees that airlines send to the port for per passenger, and we have to spend that money in certain ways. And the auditors found one small recommendation. It was an exit item. The airlines send the ports a monthly payment, and then they send us a quarterly report, and we are supposed to marry up the quarterly report to the monthly payments, and we had not been doing that. So that has been added to the procedures, and we are doing that now. The fourth and final audit is the accountability audit. And this is to see if the port complied with all state laws, regulations, and if we followed our own policies and procedures. Also, did the port operations provide adequate safeguards of public resources? The auditors select different areas of focus each year, and this year they selected 5 areas. The first 3, the Open Public Meetings Act, the fuel cards, and self-insurance program all received clean audits. No recommendations there. The fourth item they looked at was cash receipting, and they had one small exit item for this, and that was they recommended we make changes to how we handle payments for visitor mortgage. Those visitor mortgages are paid on the honor system with a Dropbox, and they suggest that we collect those monies more frequently and also compare it to the inventory log of the boats that come in and out. So we're looking at changing our procedures there too. But again, that was an exit item, low level. The final thing the auditors looked at was our facilities rentals. And these are our short-term rentals for example, the boathouse for a memorial service. The port received a management letter item on this one. It wasn't significant enough to rise to the level of a finding, but enough of a risk that the auditors are recommending that management make some changes. They found no instance of misappropriation, so nothing bad happened. We just didn't have the controls in place to prevent anything from happening. They recommend that we review fees that are charged, any adjustments, voids, or discounts. And they also suggest that users have a better understanding of how our computer system works. So we are looking at making immediate changes here. Management's going to review reports immediately, and we are looking at additional training for staff. So all in all, very few recommendations and no findings. So I consider this a pretty successful audit. Have you got any questions?
Good.
Commissioner Jorgensen, any questions?
Just excellent, no?
Mike, no questions?
Good.
Okay, I have no questions. $30,000 later, we get a clean audit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get what's paid for.
What's interesting is, if I remember correctly, it's not going to cost us quite as much next year because there's some FAA regulations or something that.
So the audit of the FAA grants, there's a threshold, and that threshold is increasing to $750,000. And if we don't receive that amount of money, we won't need an audit of our grant program. So that should save us some money.
Good, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's now time for the action items. Diane, if you could read the first one, please.
A motion to authorize the executive director to enter into an insurance contract and authorize payment for the renewal of the port's property and crime insurance coverage for the period from July 1, 2015 through July 1, 2016.
Tamara Sobczak, Director of Finance, again. Commissioners, the port's property and crime insurance policies are renewed each July. This doesn't include the liability that's renewed in October. Our broker, Alliant Insurance Services, is proposing to bind the port's coverage at a rate that's about 2% lower than last year. The rate reduction is due partly due to the improved loss record of the port, so no major events in the last couple of years. And also, the property insurance market was more favorable this year. So just a couple of highlights of the policies. We have a $25 million earthquake and flood with 5% deductible, and that's insured through FM Global. We have a $50,000 deductible on the port property, and that property is insured at replacement value. And this is through Lexington Insurance. And finally, we have a $2,500 deductible on a $2 million crime policy. And this covers employee theft, computer fraud, credit card forgery, things of that nature. Elected officials are covered under this one as well. And that's through the National Union Fire Insurance Company. The total for the current year is $636,700 plus taxes, which is approximately $13,000 lower than last year. We're asking the commission to approve the contract and authorize payment for this.
Do you actually go shopping each year?
Our broker does. Yeah.
So, Tamara, a $2.5 million policy with a $2,500 deductible, that seems kind of low. I think like
$2
auto
million
insurance
crime,
is like
$2 million?
Yeah. Why such a low deductible?
I don't know. It's the crime policy, and I don't believe we've ever had a claim against that. But that's true for all the ports that were included in the pool.
So is your point, Commissioner, that if we raise that deductible, we may be able to lower the premium a little bit?
I mean, it works for me, but I don't know if it works for us. If it doesn't
It
work,
may.
then
We'll
it makes
look
no
into
sense,
that.
right?
We'll look into that.
The crime policy is less than $1,500 a year, that particular part.
Oh, so that's pretty low.
That's not the big chunk.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we had potentially rise to a crime claim would be the computer that got stolen from me, right? I mean, that $1,000 computer, that's it in the 8 years I've been here.
Never- yeah.
This is actually employee crime.
Oh,
So if you stole your own computer, then
look now.
Weird, because you already
That
have
would be
it,
weird.
so, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It's great, a $10 million increase, and to actually have the premium go down.
Yes,
I mean, that's good.
that is good. The rate went down, yeah.
I would guess it was.
Okay, any questions, commissioners?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye,
Thank you.
passes 3-0.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Jorgensen, did you vote?
I'm sorry?
You voted yes?
I did. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a 3-0.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Our next action item, Diane, item number 2.
A motion to approve the attached Bellingham International Airport art policy and authorize the executive director to execute contracts between the lender and the Port of Bellingham for artifacts as stated in the Bellingham International Airport art policy.
Mark Lutweiler, Airport Manager for Bellingham International Airport. I just want to come up to introduce my colleague Marie Duckworth here in a few minutes, talked about our art program. But before that, I wanted to put a thanks for the people that participated in developing this document. So I want to thank our past and current members of the art committee, and start with Commissioner McCauley. He was on our art committee for some time, and we took his input, helped us scope to what we're at today, as well as we have Kelly Hart from Allied Arts here today. Can you wave? Lonnie Rom from the Tourism Bureau, who we all know. Sylvia Goodwin was a big part of this. Is Sylvia here? Marie and myself and former employee Daniel Zink was here. And Marie is going to talk to you about all the hard work we put into this document. What?
Carol.
Oh, Kelly, yeah, I forgot. Kelly Williams. Sorry, Carol.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. As Mark said, my name is Marie Duckworth, and I am the Landside Supervisor at Bellingham International Airport. And wanted to talk to you a little bit about the art policy. With the completion of the commercial terminal expansion, the Bellingham International Airport has expanded to about 3 times its original size, and that gives us a good bit of space to work with in terms of bringing an art program into the airport. What you have before you today is an airport art policy that creates a framework for the airport to solicit, review, and display public works of art. We have particular focal points that we have listed in the art policy for solicitation that include Whatcom County and Native American heritage, the local outdoor and recreational and tourism opportunities, Whatcom County's economy and our diverse economy and farming and other opportunities that are found here, our aviation history and future, and the natural setting, scenery, and wildlife of Whatcom County and Bellingham. The policy creates an art oversight committee that will review submissions and make art selections on behalf of the airport. And the airport's rotating exhibit program is designed to be cash neutral. That means that we want to create a situation that's a win-win for both the airport and the artist. The policy creates a program where the artist could both display art and list a for sale price and the contact information so that someone who's interested could purchase that art. And it also creates opportunities for art display that aren't going to cause any wear and tear and damage on the actual facility. That includes things like having pre-mounted wall frames and digital opportunities so that artists could just put their art into pre-existing frames, or we could load them into digital screens and things like that. So we think this is going to be a win-win for both artists and for the airport and for our airport travelers. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the policy.
That's got to be the most thorough art policy It's just maybe on the West Coast. It is amazing, all the detail that's in there and what it covers. And
Well, we're very thankful for the help and the input that we received from our community partners, in particular Kelly and Lonnie Rom and some of the Western students that Kelly worked with to help put together ideas for the policy. So we're thankful to have such a great community to draw from with background information for the policy.
It looks really complete. Thank you very much for all the staff, everybody who worked on this, and especially want to draw attention to section 4.3 where the subject matter focus, and I think you all nailed it. So I definitely appreciate that.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, any other remarks? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you, Mark.
I'm going to go no one hand to
And our next item, action item number 3.
A motion to approve the 2015 Bellingham International Airport tariff schedule effective July 14, 2015, to include changes to the parking fees and security ID access card fees.
Again, Mark Lutweiler from Bellingham Airport, airport manager. Well, back up here again for the airport. What we want to talk to you about is some changes to our tariff structure out there. We have a few things to talk about today. So we're going to talk about our current and future parking at the airport, what our off-site competition or competitors are doing. We're going to talk about creating a new parking rate flexibility program, talk about promotions, reservations. We have Dave Hellerud here from Standard Parking, which Standard Parking is the largest parking facility operator in the United States, out here today to talk to us about what he sees in his forecast. And we're also going to switch gears a little bit and talk about airport background checks to complete the tariff updates. At Bellingham Airport, we currently have 4 different parking lots you see here in the 4 different colors from blue, orange, the green, and the purple out here. We primarily we have a 3 rate structure right now. We currently have $12 in the blue lot. In the orange lot, it's $8 a day. And for $5 a day, some economy parking out in the green lot. We currently have had this rate structure in place for the last 12 months. And we moved to this structure, which is called a 3-tier, 3 different rates, last July. Since then, we have noticed we have an increase in off-site competitors offered in parking, and we have increased since then. So this slide here briefly shows a little bit of some of the airport parkings out there, a little bit what they're showing. Marie's going to touch on that here shortly. But there are some other stalls out there. People are parking, and their rates vary out there. What we're looking to do in the future is we need to create a better flexibility for the airport. And what we're asking for you today is to be able to create a few things to make us have flexibility to better present our airport parking to the consumer out there. We're looking about having the executive director of the authority to be able to set rate structure that right now, currently, we haven't changed the rates in a year, but we need to be able to change things seasonally or as demand changes and be able to change things quickly. Back at this over here, the other competitors out there are actually able to change prices within a week. They're have different things for promotions and schedules, and we need to be able to react faster to that. What we're looking to do immediately is to change into a different system by having a flexible rate that can be set and which will be reviewed by various people we'll talk about shortly, where the rates in our parking lots can change based on demand and what the economy will hold, so we can help maximize our revenue in the parking lots. We're looking at having something simplified, maybe a 2-rate structure system, where we have less labor for our parking contractor to be able to have a better return on our investment out there. Currently, with the 3-rate system out there in place right now, we have cashiers out there almost 24 hours a day in each of the parking lots, and some are being aren't that full right now. Marie's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the other incentive programs we're looking at moving forward.
So Commissioners, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the opportunities that we're going to have as part of the ability to offer the couponing and specials that you see before you in the tariff. We know that our travelers, they do a lot of research before they fly. They research the price of their tickets, the price of hotels, the price of parking their car in various locations, and they look at the different amenities and perks that are provided through those services. So what we like to do is be able to offer the ability to do couponing, do reservations, do other kinds of specials and promotions, just the same way that some of our other off-site competitors are doing. So as you see the customer relationship life cycle, what we'd like to do with your approval today is, when customers are doing at the comparison, when they're at the comparison point, they'll be able to compare not only our rates, but also potentially our coupons or our reservations with those of other off-site parking lot operators, and make an educated choice based on the amenities that we know that our travelers would like to see out of ourselves as well as other parking operators. Once a traveler has selected Bellingham Airport and receives that coupon from us, they go through and they have a positive customer experience, then that we'll have the ability to earn their business again and retain them, and have we'll be able to have more of a two-way conversation with them, be able to get their feedback better, and be able to communicate with them when when we want to run a special, or we want to roll out a reservation program or something like that. The next slide here shows you how we'll be able to maintain that relationship. On the right, you'll see a coupon registration form. So in the future, what we'd like to do is be able to have something like that on our website. So someone can fill out that information, and then they would either be sent to a new page on the website to print that coupon, or that coupon would be emailed to them directly. And if they choose to opt in, then we would be able to communicate with them and provide them with coupons as we roll out additional specials, to let them know about reservation program, and potentially if they choose to opt in, then also know about flight specials through our carriers. So this part of what we're asking for in the tariff is going to help us maintain a strong relationship with our customers and provide them with the kind of service that we believe that they expect. Now I'm going to turn the microphone over to David Hellerud. He is the West Coast Regional Manager for Standard Parking, who manages the parking lots out at Bellingham International Airport.
Thank you, Commissioners. I just wanted to come here today to support Mark and Marie in what we've been working on. Standard Parking and the Port of Bellingham have been working together for a few months now to work on different options on what we can do to help maximize the parking revenues at the airport. This airport is very unique. As a company, we manage over 80 parking facilities at airports across the country. We have very few the size of Bellingham that have off-airport competition like you do here. It's a difficult situation. We have to do things a little bit differently. We have to think outside of the box. The competition that you have here is using marketing strategies, is using reservation systems. In order to maintain or gain the market share that we want to have, we need to do what they're doing. We need to step up and look a little bit deeper, think outside of the box, and keep going. So I wanted to come here today really to support the actions that are going on and the proposal that's in front of you today, and let you know that as a company, we will continue to support the Port of Bellingham and do everything we can. Do everything we can to help. But these steps that you're looking to do right now, I think will be beneficial, and we're on the right track to recover some of the lost revenue that we've had, hopefully, and continue to gain market share. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this time, we're open up any questions you may have.
Other than advertising, what tricks are there?
How long do we have today? Let's see.
No,
Actually,
I mean, is there anything, I guess it wouldn't be too obvious or everybody'd be doing it, but I just wondered if there's anything that makes it plausible to expect better returns.
yes, I can ask Marie to come up here briefly and talk a little bit of what we're doing out there in the internet.
So Commissioner, I can speak a little bit to what we're doing in terms of our online marketing. When you do online, for example, Google advertising, it allows you to very highly target the kinds of people that will see your ad. So for example, we have some ads for parking at the airport. I can run one particular ad that will only target people who live in British Columbia and have a search browser history that says that they have been looking at airline tickets, for example. I can do the same thing in the Pacific Northwest, in Whatcom, Skagit, Snohomish, and Island counties, and target people who have a browser history that says that they are searching for airline tickets, and I can target them with a different ad, with a slightly different message. For example, maybe a 4th of July holiday weekend getaway in the United States, but a Canada Day getaway in British Columbia, something like that. And this kind of advertising is very inexpensive for the rate of return you get. You, in many cases, only pay when someone actually clicks on your ad. And when they click, they go straight to our website with information about our parking and our airport. And it doesn't matter how many times someone may see the advertisement, we only pay when they actively click on it. And that payment would be between 75 cents and maybe $3. So, it's very cost effective for the direct targeting and the kinds of return you get, because I'm only going to pay for people who are looking for flights and actively click on an advertisement looking to, for example, park at the airport. And with the tariff changes that allow us to do couponing, then I could send someone who clicks on that to a page with a coupon, and then they fill out the information to receive the coupon. That doesn't mean that they would necessarily park with us, but if they go to the trouble of downloading the coupon, it makes that much more likely than otherwise. Does that help answer your question?
Thank you.
Are we on any of Alaska or Allegiant's websites when they click on to order a ticket? Is there an icon for parking at the Bellingham Airport?
Not yet. I am working with representatives from both Alaska and Allegiant Airlines, and I have just recently put information about both of those airlines on our website, working with them to try to get something similar on their websites. So hopefully soon, but not yet.
Do they ask for payment for that? Is that the trouble? Yes. Okay.
We're still
just
discussing.
assuming.
We're still discussing all the details.
Okay. All right. So there's very few things. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Maybe I shouldn't say few. There's some activities that we engage in here at the port that directly compete with the private sector, and this is one of them. And I think, Mr. Hellerud, you pointed out something that I had not known, that we're in a bit of a unique situation here, given our size with off-airport parking. I think most of the places I've ever been were larger airports, and I think it's expected that you have the private operators off-airport. So I did not know we were in such a unique position here. I like to think of our off-airport operators as complementing what we have here rather than competing with what we have here. But you've heard me talk about that before. Have we looked at possibly closing lots to control costs? Is that a viable option in this case?
That's a great question. One thing we're looking at doing immediately here with the approval of this tariff change is to be able to, right now we have 3 different parking lots open at 3 different prices, is move to transition to 2 parking lots in here. The majority of people are parking, let me see if I can do this correct. We want the majority of people to be parking those lots right now. In our off season, which we're currently in right now, we have the capacity to be able to move all the traffic to those 2 parking lots and still provide a good product for the customers out there. people want to park on airport and they want to park close to the terminal. Right now, out in the green lot, we can close that lot down and save some significant revenue from our parking contractor, and it will save some costs.
Okay.
But then the lowest rate would be $8 a day, is that correct?
Well, we'd be adjusting the
The
rate.
lowest rate is actually something that the three of us are going to be meeting with the executive director, Rob Fix, and set a price which we feel is the best return on our investment and what the market can sustain. And Rob?
So Mark is correct. We want to give the flexibility to me to be able to set the pricing based on seasonal demand, because we do see a great fluctuation in our demand. For instance, March, all 4 of these lots could be full. This year, I don't think we opened up the C lot. I think we left it closed and left it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of it, but most of that we let go to the off-site parking, and you'll probably see that more in the future. But we can definitely fill up all 3 of those lots, whereas this time of the year, you go out there and each lot is a third full. So we do want to be able to have that flexibility where we measure or we yield based on the most revenue with the least expense. And sometimes that's going to be 3 lots, having 3 lots staffed, and sometimes it's only going to be 2, but we want that flexibility. As a follow-up to your question, I'd like to ask the gentleman from Standard Parking, one of the reasons we see increased expense on 3 lots is we have to staff 3 lots. So we have a person in each one of those booths. And you said that you manage 8 airport parking lots. In any of those lots, do the van drivers themselves actually serve as cashiers?
In the facilities that I run, no, I haven't done that. Is that out of the realm of possibility? No, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
It seems to me we're employing that driver, and they're driving around anyway, and at certain times of the day, they could be cashing the person out instead of having someone in a booth.
Well, and that is definitely a possibility, but they are, especially in the circumstance like right now where we're operating 3 routes, or do you want to have that person on the bus waiting for them to go cashier somebody out? That sometimes takes a few minutes. It's not a quick process. So, yeah, it's something to look at. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but it has to be done the right way.
And just to jump in, Dave, is that to answer your question, Rob, is that something that we do for about 6 hours a day right now currently in 2 of our parking lots to reduce costs. The cashier, they're specially trained, the bus drivers that are working those routes in the middle of the night are trained to cash people out. So we're not having 2 people doing the job of 1.
If I can keep one more question here. And the other thing you see at places like SeaTac is when you go to leave the terminal, you pass all kinds of pay stations before you ever get to your car. And so if you're at all a frequent traveler, you take your ticket with you, and then you pull it out of your luggage before you get back to your car, and you pay at an automated pay station. Then when you get to your car, you get a chip that you put into a machine and opens the gate, and you never deal with a person. We don't do that in our lots, and I'm curious, is that...
You do have one pay machine.
Okay.
And that is currently being used. And there's a lot of other technologies out there that automation can be enhanced. It definitely could be enhanced to do some things. But again, there's an expense to that.
Yep.
So in a point now where we're trying to control our expenses and do those things, that's an investment that would have to be made. The revenue control equipment that's currently in place here is getting to the point of being obsolete. Actually, the manufacturer is no longer in business. So over the next few years, that's something that's going to have to be looked at. And I would encourage that at the time that that's done, that we do look at it. I actually live in Vancouver, Washington, but I'm based in Portland. And we do about 83 to 85% of all of our transactions at the Portland airport are automated. I'm a huge believer in automation, but I also, you have to quell that with a lot of folks want to have somebody to talk to. So there's a balance that has to be made, but it's definitely something that it's the future. It's the way parking is working, to where you can pay, we're not too far away from paying for your parking on your phone. The automation is coming here. The reservation systems that we have in place now, you can do a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's going to continue to get more and more advanced as time goes through. A lot of people don't get tickets anymore. You put your credit card in the machine when you pull in, and you put your credit card in the machine when you go out, and you're out. So there's a lot of different technologies. Pay and foot machines was what you're talking about, and those are they're great machines. Sometimes teaching people how to use them is difficult. You have to put somebody out there to show them how to do it. But definitely, you guys have room to improve the automation moving forward.
Are all 3 lots manned 24 hours a day?
Our main parking lot in the blue is staffed 24 hours a day just because of the size of it. Actually, no, we actually apologize about that. We have this is Patrick, our parking manager at the airport. We're actually, I believe they're 18 hours a day, Patrick?
Yeah, the main lot is 5 to midnight. From 12:30 the last flight comes in. The other 2 from 6 a.m. to midnight are where the last flight comes in.
We've been experimenting with customer service over the last year, since October of last year, of reducing the staffing hours of those lots. And I guess I forgot we made the change a couple months ago for the main lot, but they're not staffed 24 hours a day. We do have staff on hand 24 hours a day to provide assistance and talk about the bus drivers can actually help cash them out.
And there's only one person manning each of those lots, plus whoever drives the bus, the shuttle bus?
Currently, that is correct.
Thank you.
So what's the occupancy rate right now in the main terminal lot? And the question comes to mind because we did raise the rate significantly in order to, I think, maybe experiment a little bit, but also to sort of charge what the value of the proximity would suggest it's worth. Is it working? Is that $12 rate working?
It was initially working at the time, but we've seen over the last year with the economic changes in the environment, in the community out here, has changed that. Primarily the blue lot out here used to be occupied. We used to close it almost on a daily basis at time when we're a 2-rate structure. What we saw when we changed our rate structure that we need to make changes to react to the current economic conditions. And what we see is a transition of people parking over in these lots over here, looking for a better fare for that. So right here, just between these 2 lots over here, the green and the orange, we have about 60 to 65% of our passengers are parking in those lots. And what we want to do is transition those over to the blue and the orange, for passenger convenience, it's close to the airport, also for revenue generation.
Mm-hmm. So, Rob, you mentioned, first of all, when I first read this, I thought you were shouldering quite a burden. So good luck with that. And not saying that snarky, but with a smile. The other side of that is that you've discussed in the past the concept of, maybe even like hourly kind of changes, which is probably crazy, but what sort of ideas would we be looking at as far as rate changes, not the amount, but the rate changes in, say, the main terminal lot over the year?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend very seasonally. Again, I'd like to call on the gentleman for standard parking. I'm sorry, is it David?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe David can shed some light on what he sees for frequency of pricing changes. I know one of the lots at Vancouver, just north of us, YVR, does fluctuate on basically an on-demand basis. If you show up in the lot as 80% full, you're going to pay a lot more than if you show up in the lot as 20% full. Do you see that in any of your airport lots?
Again, like I said, this is a unique environment. Off-airport competition, the off-airport providers will sometimes change their rates on a daily basis. They have the ability to do that. I don't think that that's what you want to do here. I think that you're looking more seasonally, but it definitely is something, it's a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking. And when we talk about adjusting rates, sometimes it's going to be adjusting them higher, and sometimes it's going to be adjusting them lower. And I think right now, when you're looking at the main lot, I think that the thought is that the occupancy in that lot is currently pretty low. So do we lower that rate? Do we go into that and lower the rate and hope that we bring more people in? And that'll even though we're making a little bit less per vehicle, do we bring in enough additional vehicles to supplement that, to make it work. So it's not a perfect science. There's going to be some trial and error. I think as your team here decides, we don't decide rights. We might make some recommendations, and we might try to help, and we'll definitely try to help with that, but we don't do it. It's not a perfect science. You're gonna make some mistakes, but you're also gonna see. I think you're gonna see quite a bit of value. Like Mark said earlier, I honestly believe that most of the folks out there that are coming to Bellingham Airport and they're driving the car and they're gonna park want to park with you. They want to be in your facility. It's kind of hard when they're driving down the road and they see, a $5 lot here and a $4 lot there, and now all of a sudden we're quite a bit higher than that. So it's a balancing act. It definitely is. But I think that with a little bit of time, it'll work out, and it'll probably be seasonally. Well, you'll know what you need to do. Creating a premium area. In part of this is being able to make a reservation and setting up a reservation system. And can we charge more? Can we charge somebody, can we set aside some parking spaces right in the beginning of that main blue lot and charge $3 or $4 or $5 more a day for those folks? I guarantee you there's a lot of people that are willing to pay that if they can have that. So it's, I hope I answered your question. It's kind of hard to, it's hard to quantify things sometimes, but I think this is the right direction to move.
If I can expand on what David just said, what we're talking about here is yielding better, and I know it's a big burden to bear, but this is my passion. I love producing revenue like this, because if we lower our main lot by, for example, $2, we may draw an extra car from the B or Economy A lot over and get an extra $2 out of that guy. But if two guys that were already parking in the main lot were going to park there anyway, now paying $2 less, we just lost $2, $4 loss, $2 gain, and that's what we need to get in there and do the math on and really start putting some science to this rather than just guessing at it.
Well, that's my next question is, the Economy C lot has been open about 2 years? Is it that long now?
Oh, yeah, more than, since the runway repaving, right?
Do we have a pretty good amount of data on usage rates then?
Yep.
Yeah, the Economy C lot, the green lot there, it actually has only been, it used to just be a straight overflow lot. I'm sorry, the purple lot. Purple. My apologies. It used to be a direct overflow lot when we had a 2-rate structure in the past. And so during the seasonal peaks for March, Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays, New Year's, we saw that lot was filled up in there. This year we only used it a little bit, and it wasn't because the other lots were full. It was the main lot was empty. It was not empty, but it was still had capacity, and as well as the orange lot had capacity. People were looking for value out there and true economy parking out there. So when that lot was being used this last year, we still had other parking spaces available for that. We're looking forward in the future is just be a straight overflow lot right now, because it does cost staff time, our contractor standard parking to staff it for us.
Mm-hmm. So if you can shut down the purple lot during certain times, it's a big savings. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and we have.
Isn't that where the employees used to park?
They parked right adjacent to here. Let me see. The employees used to park right over here.
Okay.
And a few months ago, we made some changes, and I really want to thank our partner Standard Parking for working with us about how to reduce our operating expense during this time of decline in flights at the airport. But we actually relocated the employee parking. We used to have a shuttle bus service there 24 hours a day that ran employees back and forth. It's very staff, took a lot of staff to run that. What we did is we relocated the employees over to some different areas that we had some auxiliary parking available, and kind of spread them out over 4 different existing spaces that we had to put the employees there. So it's been over, Patrick's been 3 months, 3? 23rd. Yep, April 23rd is when we stopped service for that.
Okay.
And we have seen, and it's been a direct cost savings for us. And actually, since the weather's been really nice lately, the employees haven't minded at all.
Okay, this question is probably for Marie. If I understand it, if the green lot B and the orange lot A are both full at the $5 and $8 level, but the $12 lot isn't full, are you going to have the ability to put a coupon out to park in the A lot at a reduced rate?
With executive director approval.
Yes, but we will have the flexibility to do that. See, I think that's what will make a big difference.
Couponing would be huge.
Yeah.
I believe couponing would be huge. If we can keep our pricing at the $12, $8, and $5 level, we can compete with parking lots, and we can draw people into our main lot by offering them an economy A pricing.
And then you only open that purple lot, C lot, if you're just absolutely packed in the other three.
That's right.
And that'd be a huge savings, so, good
Yes.
work.
Any further questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the questions
Thank you,
out there.
David.
Thank you. Oh, but I'm not done yet. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I wish it was that easy. So, okay, that's the parking portion for this. Part of the tariff also is to talk about a change in our security badge and fees out here. All employees of the airport that work at the airport, contractors, vendors, have to go through a security background check that's mandated by the Transportation Security Administration to work at a commercial service airport. So all 400 plus 50 commercial service airports in the nation, they all have a fees associated or badge. The background check process is made up of two different processes. One of them is called a security threat assessment that costs us $3. Another part of that is called a criminal history records check, which costs us a cost of $27. Our current tariff out there, in the past, used to have a badge renewal down here. It says renewal within 30 days. Used to cost about $5 to renew it. We've increased that cost by $30 of this, effective on July 27th, to coincide with a new federal mandate to require additional fingerprinting for employees on an every 2-year basis for a certain badge type. If everything holds and that the mandate is put in place on July 27th, we'll have to increase the badging fees by $27 for fingerprints. And in the past, we haven't been charging for the security threat assessment the $3. So we're going to increase the cost for $30 for badge renewals for the people that work at the commercial terminal, and even for our general aviation folks and people out there, the tenants, it's only a $3 increase for them. This is to help make us cost neutral, and it's a direct cost that we're not making any profit on it. It's something that we're being charged for it one way or another. We have actually, with these changes and also with the parking changes, we actually met with our Technical Airport Advisory Committee, the TAC committee at the airport. We met with them, reviewed the tariff changes, and got their approval for that. And we've also talked to all of our tenants at the airport through email and in stakeholder meetings to talk about these fee changes. And it's a national initiative that's happening out there. We can't do much about it, but we're trying to get the tariff approved for this prior to the implementation date.
Is this an annual charge to the employees?
What that is, like say example is like say for myself is that if I pay an initial fee, the part that's not highlighted there, that's on an initial enrollment. For that, every 2 years you have to get a new badge. So the way this is set up right now for the renewals is when you renew it in around the 2-year time frame, you'll be charged the fee for that, and it's something that we're charged directly for that. The example is it says $35 for the SIDA. It's a type of access card with fingerprinting. The cost costs us about $5 just for the badge itself and the ribbon, and it's $30 in background check fees when we do the renewal for that. So it's just a direct cost.
And is this the same charge for our tenants out there that everyone pays it?
For this type of badge, yes. We have two types of badges generally. We have this called a SIDA, which is a more restrictive, higher security level badge, and we have what's called a general aviation badge or an AOA badge out there, which most of the general aviation tenants have. Their initial cost to get a badge is about $20 initially, and the renewal is only going to be $8 now. It used to be $5.
And that renewal's every 2 years?
Yep. For all badge types, the renewals are every 2 years.
Mark, these are the only changes, the highlighted ones?
Yes, the only changes we had here are just the highlighted ones. The initial fees are remained unchanged. It's just something that we're just trying to pass through the cost of these new regulations out there.
Okay, that was the only question I had, but you answered that, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further questions, we'd...
There are only 4 off-site parking folks left now?
To my best of my understanding, that's what we know of, that we've seen a little bit of consolidation in the past. Some different companies have, the smaller operators have, for various reasons unknown to me, either closed up shop. Right now, and this is our slow season for right now, based on some of the flight changes, we're seeing ourselves as well as the other lots, a decrease in traffic. One lot, basically, there used to be 6 in the past that we knew of, and now there's 4 of them. And one of them kind of shared and took over another person's parcel out there.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, gentlemen?
No.
Hearing none, thank you very much, Mark and Marie and David. Hearing no other questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. The executive director gets to set the parking fees.
Good luck, Rob.
Our next action item, item 4, Diane.
Authorize the executive director to execute a professional services agreement with Reed Middleton Incorporated to perform a condition survey assessment of the shoreline, bulkheads, and roadway along a portion of Marine Drive at Blaine Harbor in the amount of $69,000 plus a contingency of $6,900 for a total authorized contract amount of $75,900.
Thank you, Diane. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Norman Gilbert, Project Engineer. Before you today is a PSA agreement with Reed Middleton to essentially perform tasks that the Port is required to do through the interlocal agreement that was adopted in May of this year with the City of Blaine. Port staff followed the standard RFP process of advertising. We had 6 proposals, and the selection team chose Reed Middleton as the most qualified. As I stated before, this will meet a number of the requirements from the interlocal agreement with the City of Blaine, which the diagram on the screen here shows the locations. Essentially, we're looking at a condition assessment of the shorelines and Marine Drive west of either the Gate 3 parking area or the sewer treatment plant, the City of Blaine sewer treatment plant. So we've got 3 specific locations: the Semiahmoo Bay Riprap, which is the north shore, the Mid-Bay Riprap, which is between Gate 3 and the Sound Pacific building, which is in the inner basin. And then we also have the Marine Drive bulkhead, which is the portion that extends past Starfish to the Fisherman's Pier, and that bulkhead actually wraps around the end of the road. We'll also be looking at the condition of the roadway as part of this assessment. The consultant will put together and develop 4 alternatives, which the Port and the City will do a joint public meeting to get public input on, and then we'll come back to the Commission, and City staff will go back to Council with an update after that meeting. Do you have any questions?
Norm, how long do you think this study will take? When will it be completed?
I'm hoping to have it done in about 3 to 4 months. It's going to take about a month to get all the contracts and insurance and everything in place and folks on the ground, and we'll get them moving as soon as possible to get that turned around. But I'd like to have something back to the Commission in time for potential budgeting for next year.
Are there any sections of that are failing worse than others? Does it all need to be done?
Well, that's what the assessment's really going to tell us, but we know for certain that the Marine Drive bulkhead area is problematic. A portion of that roadway, actually that entire roadway, has been shut down to vehicle traffic from the Starfish buildings out to the fishing pier. It's currently open to pedestrian, and that's mainly due to potholes and sinkholes that have developed.
It's a mess, no question about it. I know how popular that pier is in Blaine. It's just, people are always hoping and hoping that it's going to open tomorrow, to be able to drive out there again. But it really is, you've probably both seen it. a sight.
It's definitely a good place to go out and watch the sunset and
Yeah, it sure
spend some
is.
time out there. And it's still accessible pedestrian-wise, but it is convenient to potentially have vehicles out there. Of the 4 alternatives that the consultant will come up with, will include pedestrian only, pedestrian vehicle, pedestrian and bicycle, all sorts of iterations of ways to get out there.
Norm, now that you brought that up, it does raise the question of the commission in the past has been pretty committed to having automobiles out all the way to the end on the pier. Why would we be looking at not doing that in the future, doing a pedestrian-only approach here?
I think it's really going to boil down to what the financials of a full vehicle access out there potentially would be, and getting the public's input, commission and city council's input, and moving forward.
Well, I mean, I for one appreciate the full look at it. Certainly do. I'm not entirely sure that we would go backwards on that particular part of it, though. So, thank you, though. Thank you for being comprehensive.
Part of this is the city's responsibility as well, that we need to work with our partners at the city of Blaine on, because they're responsible for the road. We've agreed to be responsible for the bulkheads that protect our harbor, but the road itself is actually a city responsibility, and they've got to find funding for that.
That's like from Starfish out to the pier.
Well, the whole Marine Drive is their
Right, but I
responsibility.
say the part that's now deteriorated.
Yeah.
That's all city.
Correct. Yeah, we own the pier and we own the bulkheads on either side of the road, but Marine Drive is, we believe, a city street.
I was out there this weekend and looked at it, and it seems rather difficult to drive a vehicle all the way out there and turn around once you're out there.
It's tight.
So
It's tight.
I'm glad to see we're looking at a couple alternatives. If there was parking in by the Starfish area and they were able to park there and walk out on a nice walk, I'm glad we're looking at all the alternatives. That's good.
There is currently a public parking area just to the east of the Starfish area.
I mean, it's a beautiful pier, no question about it, and we do need to fix it up, so, good. Any other questions, Commissioners?
Let's go.
Nope.
None other from the man from Blaine.
Well, I could talk about leases, but we're not talking about leases, so.
I know nothing about leases.
I had a feeling you'd say that. I just comment that I talked with Arnold, who is part of the Boundary Fish company, and when we do discuss leases, there's some real concerns about room, squeezy stuff. Anyway, I'll be quiet.
Thank you very much, Norm.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other questions or comments, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you. That passes 3-0. Is there any other new business to come before the commission?
I got a couple things.
Go ahead.
So the industrial development district conversation, we didn't quite get that answered. Have we had any new information on that?
We distributed a white paper to all of you probably about 2 weeks ago. I can redistribute that.
I'll look again. If
Yeah.
it was in the mail, I didn't get it. 'Cause I
Okay, we'll send it to you
I
electronically.
don't get mail.
We'll make sure you get it
I think my
electronically.
mailman leaves my mail somewhere else. Thank you. That's great. I'll just follow up with you on that one. I do want to give the heads up to both Jim and Dan that I had a conversation with Kelly Linville, on two things. One, the vacation of C Street. That should help us with some of our land use down on C Street. And then also Mount Baker Peninsula, and partnering with them on some sort of an outdoor recreation kind of, not sure what that's going to be, but I know that Mount Baker Peninsula is pretty constrained with building opportunities, but I think that outdoor recreation might be something that we could partner with the city on. And she was definitely interested in both of those things. So I'll connect with Rob and make sure that we get some requests into that. And then also I had a conversation with a fellow named Theo Callan about Cope Road. And he's a strong proponent that we do something with Cope Road into the north end of our airport. I told him that I would share the information that he shared with me with you folks. So
I think we
I'll just
received it,
distribute
some of it,
this. Oh, he already followed up?
Yeah,
unless
Oh,
it's,
well, I guess he didn't trust me. So, all right, well, I'll just make sure I get this to you. It's the same stuff that you shared with me, minus a couple of the images that were sort of redundant, but
I don't think we got the drawings, but we did get his email.
gotcha, definitely share these with you, so.
Okay. You got two of them?
There's one for Rob, too. I might have doubled those up. Anyway, I'll get them to you before we go today.
Okay. Anything else, Mike?
Oh, that's it.
no, sir.
Okay, hearing none, at this time, we'll continue the meeting to the dedication of the new ASB trail, which will occur at the head of the trail just off Hilton Harbor at 5 o'clock, which is 1 hour from now. And then a social event with the port staff and the representatives of Harcourt will be here in this room. It was originally going to be in the boathouse. It'll be here in this room at 6 o'clock, and we'll take no action at any of those. So since our legal man is here and I've got to have him pay his way, do I adjourn the meeting or do we just leave it as
I think
is?
we just recess, right?
You adjourned it to a time specific, so at conclusion of business tonight at 6 o'clock, then you'll adjourn the meeting.
Okay,
So you're done for right now.
very good, thank you.
We'll be back.
The meeting is continued, not adjourned.
So there is nothing going on at 6 now?